All right, and welcome back, everyone, to the Silly Snacks edition of Awfully Silly. We're moving right along. We're gonna be eating good tonight, as I've alluded to, and this next game is no exception. First, just want to remind everybody as well, if you've missed out on any of our GDQ Hotfix shows, feel free to check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And if you are watching on YouTube, feel free to join us over at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to check out our live shows starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, Hotfix is funded in part thanks to your subscriptions and bits, so please consider subscribing to help support future broadcasts. Without further ado, it's on your screen. I mean, it flows so nicely right from McDonald's, obviously, into the Burger King, meta, if you will. So we got Sneak King and we have Kefka 14 here to show us 50%, which you might be figuring out what that means exactly, as well as a small little glitch showcase. So Kefka, go ahead and take it away with Sneak King.
All right, first, again, thanks for having me. And it's been quite a few years since this game was showcased at a GDQ event of any kind, so let's get right into it. Timing will begin in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So, first off, I'm playing on original Xbox, and the reason for that is original Xbox actually has faster load times with this game. It's all on the same disc, though, which is kind of interesting. But for those of you who have never seen this game, obviously it's something. Basically, you play as the Burger King, and the goal is to sneak up on hungry bystanders and give them food. Now, sneaking is a loose way of saying go slow. We don't want to go slow, though. We want to go fast. So that becomes kind of a challenge. So the way I go about this, number one, is you don't want to be seen by the NPCs. And you can see on the ground there's like a blue kind of cone in front of each of them. That's a pretty good indicator for where their line of vision is. But they can also hear you. And that just sort of comes with practice, weirdly. And just kind of learning when to stop running. And what I mean by that is, notice I started that challenge running, and then I wasn't. The reason for that is when you're running, you make a lot of noise and you can be heard, and we don't want that. A pretty interesting game as a speed game. Mostly, it's a bit of an RNG circus. If you notice, the category is 50%, for example. Part of the reason for that is, years ago, when I was routing out this game, I realized that a full game run of any sort would never be marathon safe in any conceivable universe. So, me and the other and only other Sneak King runner, pretty much, got together and decided to create a shorter category that was more marathon safe and also just shorter and, more beginner friendly, I guess. That being said, it's kind of the main category of the game, weirdly enough. So, that's how it goes. Funny game, funny categories. So, with the challenges in the game here, you notice that there's a little gauge when I deliver something to someone. There are 3 levels I can stop that gauge at, and depending on where I stop it, I'll get more points for my delivery. It doesn't matter that much in this run, with the exception of knowing one thing. A flourish is always going to have a longer animation than just mashing A through this gauge and doing what's called a regular surprise. So in most cases, I'm going to be doing flourish level 1s because they have a much shorter animation. But I do have to do some 3s, and they have pretty hilarious animation. This challenge here is the first one that's really going to show some of the RNG off. It always starts off with this guy saw on the log, and then it usually goes to the guy chopping the tree. And it did. So some of this is memorizing the order. Some of it's learning how to just react to RNG. It's pretty fun. This particular challenge, I have to get a chain count of 5. And what that means is 5 consecutive deliveries without being seen. Played it a little safe there. Small time loss, but I would rather play it safe and not fail the challenge and lose 3 or 4 seconds. So getting a chain count of 5, again, means 5 deliveries in a row. This 5th one is always kind of just a free-for-all. We never really know what's about to happen. Okay, so we ended up getting the NPC that I kind of wanted, but we didn't get it until she was really far away. Okay, and then we get the other guy sawing the log. So this is actually pretty average for this challenge, weirdly enough. I'd say somewhere between 40 and 50 seconds is pretty on par. So with the next challenge, we have to do 3 more flourishes. It has an established cycle, and what I mean by that is every challenge typically is supposed to have a set cycle of when NPCs get hungry versus when they don't. But the game is kind of broken, and it doesn't do that. So there's a high chance that later in this run, I'll be running towards a particular NPC or group of NPCs, much like I was right there, expecting them to become hungry, like you just saw, and they just don't. Also, check out the inside of the king there. It's lovely. Lovely. And right at 111, bam. Some things are predictable in this game. At least we hope they're going to be. This game can be really volatile at times. So overall, I would say this run is actually going really well so far. We're getting ready to go do the shortest challenge in the stage, which is a challenge where we have to get a single level 3 flourish. That may sound easy, but the timing's kind of specific. It's not necessarily hard, just kind of finicky, tricky, if you will. It's the only challenge that we go through that door and cross through that house. Keep that house in mind for later. All right, so check out this animation. It's so amazing. Oh, gotta skip that. There we go. And yes, we have to watch the whole thing before it'll let us dismiss. Awesome.
Wonderful, yeah.
Wonderful, right? I only deal with that one because it's just a single delivery, so it's still fast regardless. But, oh goodness, which direction? Oh, that was my own fault. I was talking. So now we're going to challenge 2. I've been skipping this one at the beginning lately, and the reason for that is it unlocks challenge 7 fast, or challenge 8 faster, which is the one that had all the weird RNG stuff in it. I like to get that one out of the way, pretty much. And it made me a little confused as to my order there. That being said, we're back on track. We're gonna sneak up right next to this guy, and right about now, yep. Some things are very dependable in this game. Some things aren't dependable at all in this game. This is one of those challenges that pretty much always goes the exact same way, with very, very little variance if you know what you're doing. This next challenge I like to call the reset challenge, and the reason I like to call it that is because it leads to a lot of resets, but the reason for that is because it has a couple of different RNG patterns it can select from. We got really good RNG, probably. I say probably because the game can still decide to just not do what it's supposed to do, which is this guy right here. Yes. So that's wonderful. Really wonderful. The last marathon run I did, this challenge derailed really badly. And I had no idea what was happening. It was wonderful. Okay, this
so
is actually
odd. This game seems so stable, you know?
So stable, right? There's some challenges that literally have like a 40% chance of just soft locking the game. We're not doing any of those today, but they exist. All right, so this is the last challenge in stage 1, so everybody say bye-bye. The stage 1 sawmill will be going to cul-de-sac next, where things are going to get a little weird as far as challenges. Things get a little longer, more drawn out, and there's more stuff to do. This challenge here, though, we have to get 10,000 points in less than a minute. So I'm actually going to be waiting and letting the NPCs get to a specific level of hunger to make sure I get the right amount of points. Another thing I haven't mentioned is part of the conditions for points is how close you are to the actual NPC. So I like to be like right up on them. In this particular situation, I'm waiting for the burger icon to have a little red ring around it, and I want to do a flourish level 2. It allows me to finish the challenge in just 2 deliveries, which is pretty quick. I'm actually going to let this cutscene play. It's not very long, and it's funny.
Some lucky loggers at the old sawmill received a surprise gift from the king yesterday. His Highness, somehow sensing that his hard-working subjects had missed the most important meal of the day, arrived with a big smile and a platter full of breakfast delicacies. Several of the stunned lumberjacks were interviewed afterwards, but it is unsure what they said, as their mouths were full.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice, right?
I wanted to be so silent for that because I just wanted all attention on that.
We needed all of that deep Sneak King meta.
Give me that lore. Inject it.
Okay, so this stage introduces a new mechanic where you actually have an inventory, and if you press A preemptively, you can drop the thing that you're trying to deliver. Terrible. So I'm going to be playing it a little bit safer and not just mashing A as soon as I get up to NPCs. I'm going to make sure that my icon says I can deliver, pretty much. Because if we drop stuff, we can fail a challenge, and failing is slow, obviously. That being said, this stage is a lot more involved. There's a lot of stuff going on in terms of just the route. Hopefully we get the RNG that I want here. We did not. I'm going to restart. Oh, come on. Give it to me. One more. Okay, cool. 4 resets. Not bad. That's about average. I want this particular RNG because this challenge will go really fast, but also so I could show off a glitch kind of during the run. So this is faster and it's funny. NPCs have sloped hitboxes. As such, we can get on top of them like so. So we're gonna deliver him food from on top of him, and the camera has no idea what to do in this situation. Everything's like fisheye lensed or something. Pretty crazy looking.
Bet no one in chat expected to hear you say sloped hitboxes on Sneak King.
Right? We're gonna get more into that later too. There's a whole plethora of fun things we can do that are related. Excuse me. All right, so that's that challenge. We had to get 20k points, and we did so very quickly. The rest of the stage can get pretty tricky. A lot of the challenges have the inventory system in place, and it can make or break you. Like in this challenge, we have to do 5 deliveries, and we have an inventory of 5. So if I press A preemptively one time, we fail the challenge. That may seem like a very simple thing to do, but trying to like not go as fast as you want to go is sometimes very difficult. So this challenge is also a bit of an RNG circus. If you haven't noticed, I don't really have a set path on this one. I'm just reacting to the mini-map. If you look on the mini-map, you can see the icons for the NPCs. A green icon is one that's hungry. I decided to forego that other one because I figured somebody closer to me would get hungry soon, and they did. It was Mr. Mailman here. And we have one more delivery, and it was somebody right behind us. Check that out. Usually in this stage, if you kind of linger right here on this like street circle, you can finish challenges pretty quick, but sometimes it gets strange. I'm hoping not to see anything too crazy in this run. There's one particular challenge where I have to do 8 deliveries, which may seem like a lot, but it isn't that bad if things don't get too weird. This challenge here is one of those ones that has a very set pattern. We have to do 5 flourishes. So I'm just gonna do flourish level 1s. They have the shortest animation. Then we're gonna just stand next to this house, and we're gonna just cram a sandwich right through the house, pretty much.
Cram a sandwich right through the house. Nice.
It's chicken fries, to be specific. not a sandwich. My bad. My bad.
Even better. Even better.
Even better.
I was really hoping chicken fries would make a good appearance, so.
Oh, yeah. We haven't been mentioning all of the wonderful BK products that have been on screen, by the way. We've had everything from Whoppers and BK coffee. All right, so the next challenge has a really funny beginning, and it's so funny because it consistently starts this way every time. With this NPC here, actually, ironically. And what she's going to be doing is ringing a doorbell, but for some reason, her character model gets turned backwards when you start the challenge. So she rings the doorbell just like out into space. It's pretty funny looking. I'll make sure to highlight that. We lose no time to do so. So yeah, check her out. She's like, ding dong.
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is the 8 floors challenge I mentioned. The first 3 deliveries are consistent. Everything after the 3rd one is just prey, pretty much. It usually goes pretty okay regardless. Typically I'll wait about right here for this guy, trimming these hedges. I like how he just continues to trim for a second with no hedge clippers. Wonderful. Then we're gonna shove another sandwich through a house. We're 2 for 2. Okay, taking a look at the pattern I'm getting here. It looks kind of okay, actually. We got this lady here. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I see something new every time I play this game in terms of just the order that things happen in and stuff on certain challenges, and this is definitely one of those. So we're already up to 5 deliveries. The last 3 could be weird. So far, so good. We have... Ooh, we're actually going to go to this NPC first. Come on, come on. Okay, cool. She almost passed out. What that means is if you don't reach an NPC in time, they literally just pass out from hunger. They just fall over, quite literally. And then you can't deliver anything to them, which is slow. So we don't want that. And there we go. So that's that challenge. Easily the longest challenge in the run. Not the hardest, but the longest for sure. Okay, now we're gonna do one of the shorter challenges in this stage. Looks like we got really bad luck. Oh well, typical. So this NPC, we could end it right now if we could deliver to her, but she's gonna turn here in a second. Yep, like so. And as we're going towards her, she would turn and see us, and then she would no longer be hungry, which would be bad for us. So we have to do a flourish level 3. It's different in this stage, a little shorter of an animation. We are drawing towards the end of this category, by the way. There are 4 challenges left, and as such, there's some pretty good ones. This first one here, we're going to start off immediately walking to the right, and that's to avoid this NPC seeing us. Okay, that's interesting. He's not hungry. Never seen this before. Cool. We are officially improvising. Let's go. So we're going to follow this guy. This challenge mirrors a challenge in the first stage where we just have to get 10,000 points. It's not too terrible if we can keep our chain count active. That's really the key here. And I think we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. Cool. So that worked out. Normally the guy working on that car is the first one, but the game just said no. It happens. This next challenge is kind of my least favorite challenge in this stage. We have to get 5,000 points using no flourishes. It's a pretty easy thing to do. All we really need is a chain count. Our first NPC is always this guy with this challenge, so it's pretty simple. But we're going to get real close to him to make sure we get 600 points. Our next NPC is going to be this lady standing right here next to this house. We're going to wait for her to turn around, though. Like so. The reason I waited for her to turn around, number one, it was so the NPC in the distance that you saw would become hungry the time I wanted them to, and also so I could avoid her seeing us, just to be on the safe side. We want to deliver to this guy right as he's about to pass out, so we're going to let him just walk. And check out the POV mode in this game, by the way. Creepy, right? All right, 2 more challenges. This next challenge is probably one of the harder ones in this stage. It can troll me depending on what this first NPC decides to do. Sometimes his character model could just load in facing in a direction that we don't want. We are okay though. He was facing the perfect direction, away from that gap in those bushes there. So then we got this guy. This challenge has a really set order. If it starts off correctly. If it doesn't start off correctly, things get really strange, really fast. Next is Mr. Mailman here. You'll notice right about now. Yeah. 2. And then 2 more. We're gonna have blue shirt guy. Right here. And then it's gonna be either lady in the green dress or a guy in the blue suit. Or a gray suit, rather. He's in a suit. There we go. All right, so we're on to the final challenge of the run. Kind of the hardest one, honestly. I could fail it, honestly, but I probably won't. I have to do 3 flourishes in ascending order. So a flourish 1, followed by a flourish 2, followed by a flourish 3. That can be a little tricky to do, obviously, without some practice. So far, so good. We also have an inventory, though, so that's worth keeping in mind. Next NPC is usually this guy here, painting the fence. Lovely. At least it ends this whole thing with a burger challenge. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting cycle that I very rarely see. Usually I'm going over to the lady next to the house over there, but sometimes, very rarely, this will be the last NPC. That's actually just a stroke of good luck. So that's 50%. It's a very accessible category for anybody that would like to check it out. But, as promised, we have a glitch showcase. Now, it's short, but it's interesting, and it's funny. So, the first thing to talk about is the hitboxes on NPCs. I mentioned earlier that they're sloped. I can prove that with this guy, because you can just sort of stagger around and end up on top of it. Now, this is the way I did that. Notice that the king kept doing this here and shrugging. What's happening is I'm pressing A to do a delivery, and it causes him to do that animation. You can't really see it well, but it causes him to like shift ever slightly on the ground when you press A like that. And as a result, I kind of figured out that you can stagger your way around some of the geometry in the game, more or less. You can use it to climb certain sloped things by just continually pressing A. That little displacement will push you up a slope. You do it with the correct timing. As such, we can traverse some stuff that we probably really shouldn't be able to traverse in, you know, the vanilla version of the game, which this is vanilla, but let's be real. We're going for burgers. And when you're going for burgers, you gotta fly up a house. You have to scoot into a house over and over and shrug repeatedly.
That's just such an incredible sentence.
I like to call this porch no dirt, because we made it all the way over here without touching the ground. But we're not done yet. There's one more additional thing we can do with this that is pretty interesting looking. Recall the house from earlier that we went into. When we went through the house, it took us to the other half of this loading, like this map, essentially. Well, over here we can also kind of run into this slope and stagger our way up it, right? If you hold in a pretty specific direction, and this might take me a try or two, but I've been getting it pretty consistently. There we go. You fall straight through the map. So, bye-bye world, there it goes. Say goodbye. And we're gonna go to that house, and we're actually gonna go into the house, but from under the map. Might take me just a second to line it up because found it immediately. So notice the mini map is fading away. So when we come into the house here, we're going to the inside of it from the outside or something. I'm not even sure how you would describe that. And here we are. The camera is stuck in a perpetual rotating loop forever. It's kind of random as to what the camera does. I'm very glad it did this. This is great. Yeah, that's Sneak King, everybody. Check it out, though. We're stuck in this permanent void. You can never leave until you literally quit the game. Hooray. That's it. That's what I got.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. Anything you wanted to like shout out at the end here? I know Sneak King's got a couple runners, like you said.
Actually, yeah, I will say it's kind of weird. I know that this is a really obscure game and sort of obviously niche, but it's weird to me how few people have ran it just based on that. It's kind of a joke, and I feel like more people should be in on it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I really welcome anyone to join the Sneak King community. I say community loosely. There's like 3 people and no active members other than myself. So it would be really cool to see some more runners for this game. You know, it's just there's more there than what it might seem in terms of tech, and there's more room for that game to be optimized. And we need more people. We need more people to run it. It'd be great to have some competition too.
That's right. You heard it here. We need more eyes on the Sneak King prize. So absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that was an excellent showcase. I mean, I love this game. I love this run. Thank you so much for showcasing it for us, Kefka. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Again, it's always a great time doing stuff with GDQ, and this time is no different. You all are wonderful. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the rest of the show.
Oh, yes. And the rest of the show is going to be pretty great stuff indeed. So we'll have some more food-based shenanigans coming up here shortly. Again, just wanted to throw a couple of reminders your way, which is that the AGDQ 2022 schedule is indeed out. You can check it out at gamesdonequick.com/schedule so you can see what kind of January goodness we got coming up for you in a few months. But for now, we're going to take another quick stretch break, get those stretches out. You might be getting a little bit full, but we still have a lot of room left in our meal that is the show. So don't get too full. Grab your snacks, grab your water, get your stretching, and we will be back in just a few moments.